stealthy secrecy. They are unidentified, alien, extraterrestrial, UFO. There are some who say that we are at a crossroads, a place and time where startling answers to momentous questions about life from other planets will soon be disclosed. They can offer proof that we are regularly visited by otherworldly beings who travel in advanced spacecraft. Proof that our lives are being studied, sampled, and manipulated. Proof that we are not alone. There are witnesses, photographs, and motion pictures that suggest an alien's presence can be detected on our horizons and on our land in strange patterns that appear mysteriously in fields of wheat. Some contend that the proof lies in the desert, where an alien spacecraft slammed into a remote ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. There are others who tell of a secret flying saucer test site in the desert at a technological dreamland known only as Area 51. But some refuse to simply believe. In the face of remarkable stories and sighting reports, scientists conduct a real search for extraterrestrial intelligence in a coordinated global effort of deep space exploration called SETI. And new information is emerging. It points to the brain, and it looks to the mysteries of the mind as the source for this modern enigma, the UFO. These recent studies may shed new light on what humanity calls UFOs and close encounters. They may also reveal a myth, a modern myth that begs a question. Where are all the UFOs? For over 40 years, UFO images and stories have shaped our beliefs and enticed our imaginations in astonishing ways. But where does the UFO come from? Few of us have ever seen a UFO or noticed anything in the sky that didn't seem to belong there. Even fewer claim that they have been hauled inside a flying saucer. Still, 5 out of 10 people believe that alien spacecraft are in our skies, piloted by intelligent travelers from other planets. Where do these widespread ideas originate? Some say the seeds were planted by the time 32 million people gathered around radios on the night of October 30th, 1938.
We interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead.
Millions believed that the H.G. Wells radio drama, The War of the Worlds, was a real report of a Martian invasion. The result was a widespread panic. The director, Orson Welles, was unaware that his production had struck a nerve.
I'm, of course, surprised that the H.G. Wells classic, which is the original for many fantasies about invasions by mythical monsters from the planet Mars, had such an immediate and profound effect upon radio listeners.
The effect was indeed profound. The German psychologist Carl Jung would later write that the fear of an invasion from outsiders was real and came at a time of growing paranoia from an escalating world war in 1938. Wells had provided a name and shape to the unknown intruders that lurked in our imagination. That name was Martians. Before science offered explanation, the passing of a comet was met with fear and panic. Other unexplainable phenomena were labeled angels, fairies, and leprechauns in simpler times when man's fears of invasion were bounded by the power of horses, wind, and steam. But the 1940s ushered in the rocket age. Radar allowed us to see in the dark, and soon we would harness the power of the atom. We were getting used to wonders, so why not visitors from outer space? The UFO legend began with no photographs, no radar reports, and no physical evidence, only one man's story. It was the kind of story that would come to be known as a sighting. Kenneth Arnold was a 32-year-old successful businessman on the summer day that his sighting took place. He sold firefighting equipment and flew his own light plane. On Tuesday, June 24th, 1947, Arnold was flying toward Mount Rainier above the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. The air was smooth and clear as he reached 9,200 feet and noticed a bright flash. To the left and north of Mount Rainier, he saw what he described as 9 peculiar objects flying at over 1,200 miles per hour. As they passed the mountain, the objects were outlined against the snow. They traveled in a V formation and were skipping through the sky in such a way that Arnold said they resembled a saucer skipping across water. Arnold first told his story upon landing at the Yakima, Washington airport. He sketched a series of diagrams to illustrate what he had seen. What he drew was shaped like a crescent 50 feet long and only 3 feet thick. It had a rounded point in the rear. When seen edge on, he reported, they looked like a black line. Journalists were naturally skeptical of Arnold's story, but because of his stature as a pilot, businessman, and deputy sheriff, the skepticism changed to wonder, and the newsmen reported the incident as serious news. It was not long before the story of Arnold's sighting startled the world. The newspapers quickly coined a name for Arnold's skipping discs. The name was flying saucers. Kenneth Arnold was soon to enjoy a celebrity status. As the author of a book and the subject of magazine cover stories, he was looked upon as a combination of Einstein, Flash Gordon, and Screwball. Still, the press would anoint him the man who started it all. By the summer of 1947, the age of the flying saucer had arrived. In the days and weeks after Arnold's sighting, there followed a rash of reports which would firmly lodge the idea of flying saucers in the public imagination. One of those reports came only 14 days after Arnold spotted his 9 skipping discs. It originated in the New Mexico desert outside a remote community called Roswell.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
It had been 2 weeks since Kenneth Arnold reported his famous flying discs above the cool mountains of Washington State in 1947. More people knew about flying saucers at this time than about the Marshall Plan for the post-war reconstruction of Europe. Now, the attention would turn to the desert. Roswell, New Mexico lies deep in the flat, thirsty lands of the Southwest. It is a rural place whose very name conjures up memories of an alleged UFO crash and government cover-up. It is central to the UFO myth and remembered as the Roswell incident. In the summer of 1947, the Army airfield here in Roswell was home to the elite 509th Bomb Group. During World War II, B-29 bombers that carried the atom bomb originated here. And 48 years ago, so did an event that gave substance to the belief in flying saucers.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.